In May 1901, the Attorney General of Paris received an unusual letter that reported a disturbing secret about the well-known Monnier family in Poitiers, France. The letter claimed that a woman referred to as a spinster had been confined within the Monnier household for a period of 25 years, enduring extremely unsanitary living conditions. The individual in captivity was identified as Blanche Monnier. A mysterious person, whose identity remains a secret, wrote a letter by hand without adding a signature. Until that juncture, the Monnier family enjoyed an impeccable reputation. Despite their previously untarnished standing, the Attorney General was deeply unsettled by the undisclosed details within the anonymous letter. This prompted an urgent decision to launch an immediate investigation. The police discoveries within the Monnier family's home were so astonishing that the revelation rippled through the entire nation of France, causing shockwaves. Blanche Monnier, previously believed to be living abroad, was discovered concealed in a room within the Monnier family residence, kept there for a staggering 25 years. This once lively and socially engaged family member had deteriorated significantly, suffering from severe malnutrition, being in unsanitary conditions covered in waste and surrounded by decaying food and insects. What's even more distressing is that her own mother had confined her, solely because she had fallen in love with a man disapproved by the family. When the police arrived at the Monnier residence, they might have harbored reservations, considering the family's esteemed standing in aristocratic circles. Madame Louise Monnier in particular was well regarded in Parisian high society for her benevolent endeavors. Notably, she received a community award acknowledging her significant charitable contributions, as reported by the Daily Mail. The late husband of Louise Monnier had held a prominent position, overseeing a local arts faculty. Their son Marcel had achieved a law degree and was employed as an administrative official in the Puget-Théniers commune. Additionally, the family included a daughter named Blanche Monnier, born in 1849. These familial details provide context to the initially perplexing situation that the police confronted when arriving at the Monnier household. Blanche Monnier, known for her gentle and amiable nature, was widely recognized for her physical beauty, drawing numerous suitors as she matured. Given her family's esteemed status in society, she often found herself in the public spotlight. Yet, in 1876, an abrupt change occurred. Blanche Monnier mysteriously disappeared, and Louise Monnier, her mother, informed acquaintances that her daughter had gone away or was traveling. Over time, the family's social circle presumed that the young socialite had relocated overseas indefinitely, leading them to cease inquiries about her well-being. Unaware to those in their social circles, Blanche was enduring captivity within the confines of her family home. It took more than 2 decades for the shocking truth to surface, triggered by an anonymous letter sent to the Attorney General of Paris. The letter disclosed the grim fate of Blanche Monnier, stating, "Monsieur Attorney General, I have the honor to inform you of an extremely serious occurrence. I speak of a spinster who is locked up in Madame Monnier's house, underfed, and living on a putrid litter for the past 25 years, in a word, in her own filth." When the authorities came to the Monnier house in 1901, it was clear that the family, especially Louise Monnier, didn't want to let them in. The Crime Wire reported that investigators had to employ force to enter the home. Initially, the house appeared ordinary, giving no indication of any wrongdoing. However, upon closer inspection, the police detected a foul odor emanating from the upper floor. The stench was most pronounced near a specific door, securely padlocked. Upon breaking into the room, the police were confronted with a sight for which they were unprepared. The room was really dark because the only window was closed with thick curtains. As light penetrated the space, the authorities found a bad smell coming from old food on the floor and a broken bed with a very skinny woman on it. That woman was Blanche Monnier. The police opened the window that day, and it was the first time Blanche Monnier saw sunlight in more than 20 years. Her family had kept her in that dark room, since she disappeared in 1876, hiding her from everyone. Blanche Monnier, who was now in her middle age, was extremely malnourished, weighing only 55 pounds. She was so frail that she couldn't even stand up to go to the bathroom. Instead, she had to stay lying down in her own waste, with bugs and spoiled food around her. One of the officers who was at the place later told what he saw. According to him, the poor woman was lying there, naked on a mattress that was falling apart. All around her, there was a layer of poop, bits of food like meat, vegetables, fish and old bread. They even saw oyster shells and bugs crawling on her bed. Considering the horrible things the woman had been through, it was surprising that she was still alive. The smell of all the dirt and rot was so strong that the investigators couldn't stay in the room for more than a few minutes. It was almost hard to believe that she had somehow managed to live in that room in such bad conditions for about 25 years. A group of officers took Blanche Monnier to the hospital, and at the same time others arrested her brother and mother. The hospital staff mentioned that even though Blanche was extremely undernourished, she was surprisingly clear-headed. She even commented on how lovely it felt to breathe fresh air again. Gradually, the complete and tragic story of what happened to her started to come out. Shortly after being taken into custody, Madame Louise Monnier confessed that her daughter had chosen a suitor many years ago. Disappointingly for the family, he was not a young wealthy aristocrat, but an older lawyer with financial difficulties. Despite her mother's insistence to choose a more suitable husband, Blanche Monnier refused to abandon the man she loved. In response, Madame Monnier locked her daughter in a padlocked room, demanding she give up her relationship. The years passed, but Blanche remained steadfast. Even after her beloved passed away in 1885, she continued to be imprisoned, with only vermin as her companions. Her brother did not intervene to help her, and was eventually accused of conspiring with his mother. The identity of the person who wrote the letter that led to Blanche's rescue remains unknown. One rumor speculates that a servant in the family shared the secret with her boyfriend, and upon learning about it, he was so shocked that he felt compelled to inform the Attorney General. Nevertheless, the dreadful tale quickly became public knowledge, sparking significant outrage. The anger was so intense that a furious crowd gathered outside the Monnier house. The intense public outcry took a toll on Madame Louise Monnier, causing her to experience severe heart problems. Just 15 days after her daughter's rescue, Madame Monnier passed away. Unfortunately, the only family member left to face the consequences of the actions was her brother, Marcel. During his trial, Marcel said that Blanche never wanted to leave her room and chose to stay there. He also claimed that his sister could be violent. Marcel Monnier was given a 15-month prison sentence for being part of his mother's actions. However, he was later found not guilty because he said his sister could have left anytime she wanted. The law at that time didn't require people to help others in need, and Blanche was not well enough to tell her side of the story in court. Unfortunately, even after being saved, Blanche couldn't return to a normal life. Even though she got a bit better over time, the emotional hurt was too much for her to be a part of society again. She spent the rest of her life in a place for people with mental health issues in Boise. She passed away when she was 64 years old in 1913.